Gay men often think feeling jealousy means something is wrong with their open relationship. But jealousy is actually a blueprint for what needs attention. In my work with queer couples, I see that when we get curious about jealousy instead of hiding it, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for strengthening connection. If you ignore jealousy in your open relationship, there will be trouble ahead. Hi, my name is Tom Brewitt. I'm a sex and relationship therapist who works with gay men, queer couples, and anyone trying to build relationships that actually align with your values, not just the ones that we are taught to settle for. And today I want to share 5 concrete tips to help you handle jealousy in an open relationship without spiraling or shutting down or blowing things up. But before I give you the strategies, I want to tell you a quick story because I've been there. Early on in my own open relationship, I felt jealousy hard. I remember this so clearly. I was standing on the Muni in San Francisco. It was one of those crowded, sweaty 5 p.m. trains where you're pressed up against someone's backpack and trying not to breathe too heavily. And I got a text from my partner, and it said something like, "Hey, just a heads up, I'm about to have a hookup." And my entire body lit up, and not in a fun way. My chest tightened, my stomach dropped, my ears got hot. I felt scared, anxious, my mind was racing, and it didn't make sense. Why is this hitting me so hard when I said I wanted an open relationship? I was confused because monogamy never felt aligned for me. I knew I wanted an open structure. I knew it matched my values around freedom and honesty and growth, but that didn't stop the flush of jealousy. And let's be honest, I had my work cut out for me. So I did what I do. I read every book I could get my hands on. I listened to podcasts. I talked to my own therapist. I got curious instead of shutting down. And slowly I built the muscle, the same muscle that I helped my clients build today. So if you're watching this and you've had your version of the Muni moment, you're not broken. You're human. And we're going to talk about it. All right, let's jump into the 5 big tips. Tip 1. Name it and then claim it. One of the most powerful things that we know from neuroscience is this. Naming a feeling calms the amygdala, the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn part of your brain. That's where the phrase name it to tame it comes from. Jealousy isn't shameful, it's information. If you can say, "I'm feeling jealous," congratulations, you've already taken one of the hardest steps. Because once you name it, you have a choice about what to do with it next. You're no longer drowning in the emotion. You're holding it, you're observing it, you're understanding it. And that clarity helps reduce overwhelm and shame. Let's make it practical. Different feelings require different interactions. Anger might signal a boundary that needs to be set. Sadness might signal a need for comfort or connection. Fear might mean you need reassurance or clarity. So first, name the feeling. Then experiment with what helps soothe and regulate you. It's not going to be perfect, but practice, practice, practice. Also, I have a free resource for you. The link is in the description below, and it is a free mini communication course that builds on everything that I'm talking about in this video. Give it a try. Tip 2, stay curious. Curiosity is the antidote to defensiveness. If you go straight into, "Why did you do that?" or "We need to change the agreements right away," you shut down the very conversation that could help you grow as partners. Relationships, especially queer, open, expansive ones, bring up all sorts of big feelings. Jealousy is normal. Curiosity helps you weather that initial storm. And curiosity isn't just about your partner, it's also about you. Ask yourself, what story am I making up right now? What value of mine feels threatened? What am I afraid that this means? Who am I trying to be in this relationship? And here's an important truth. Unless your partner is forcing you into an open relationship, which is a red flag, you have agency. You get to choose whether the structure aligns with your values. Now let's make it practical. Practice open-ended questions. Like, what came up for you? How did it feel? What do you want right now? And my favorite, what is important to you about this topic? Make a list of your values and how you want to show up in relationships. And then read the list before tough conversations. And give yourself grace. Curiosity takes practice. Tip 3, practice relationship differentiation. Let's talk about one of my favorite concepts from the developmental model of couples therapy that I write about in my book. Differentiation. Differentiation means you can stay connected to yourself, your thoughts, feelings, wishes, and desires, while also staying connected to a partner. It is the opposite of losing yourself in the relationship or collapsing every time your partner has an experience that triggers you. Why does this matter with jealousy? Because differentiation creates room for both connection and autonomy. And those two things are the backbone of every successful open relationship I've ever worked with. Differentiation helps you clarify boundaries, not from fear, but from self-leadership. Let's make it practical. Before a conversation, get clear on what you want from it. Name and tame your feelings first. Regulate your body so that you can stay present. Get honest about your desires, your real ones. You can't negotiate well if you don't know what your own wants and desires are. Tip 4, practice compersion. Compersion is often described as the opposite of jealousy, but I think of it as feeling joy when your partner experiences pleasure or happiness. But let's be clear here. You don't just flip a switch and feel compersion. It's a muscle. And for most of us, especially queer men raised in a culture with lots of heteronormativity and monogamous programming, it is a muscle that takes real practice. You are unwinding years of messaging that said, if they love you, they'll only want you, or relationships that are non-monogamous are worthless. Meanwhile, the queer community has lived outside of these boxes for years and generations. So let's make it practical. Start outside the bedroom. Ask yourself, does it bring me joy when my partner gets a promotion? When they feel good in their body? When they reunite with an old friend? When they beam over a hobby or a success? If you feel compersion in those moments, you can build it slowly around sexuality and intimacy. It is the same muscle, it is just a heavier weight with more reps. Tip 5, strengthen your erotic connection together. Here's the thing. We all have a finite amount of erotic energy. If you're giving it all to hookups or apps or outside connections and none of it to your primary partnership, if you're in a consensually non-monogamous relationship with hierarchy, then jealousy will flare. Not because open relationships don't work, but because erotic connection requires tending. Ask yourself, are you carving out enough intentional erotic time together? Are you prioritizing each other's pleasure? Are you maintaining the quality of your erotic connection? Jealousy gets a lot quieter when you feel secure, desired, and erotically alive with your partner. Let's make it practical. Schedule sex. Yes, really. Some people hate this, but we know that those who schedule it have more of it. Have weekly or bi-weekly relationship check-ins about sex, emotions, agreements. Be honest and give specific constructive feedback. Keyword there is constructive. Explore new things together and make pleasure a shared project. Jealousy doesn't have to mean your relationship is doomed. It means something inside of you is asking for attention or clarity or reassurance or growth. If you name the feeling, stay curious, practice differentiation, and build up the muscle of compersion, and all the while strengthening your erotic connection, you'll build not just a more secure open relationship, but a more resilient, grounded, connected version of yourself. If this was helpful, check out this next video on opening up a relationship. It has 5 more tips and tools that you can use to strengthen your bond together.